Hello beauties, welcome back. Today we're gonna talk about nighttime routines. This is something that Fela and I love watching and consuming on our own. There's also no shortage of nighttime routines on this channel or on the interwebs, but I feel like there's a reason why we and just everyone gravitates towards these videos because it's either, you wish like you want to sleep earlier, you want to step away from technology earlier, you want to self-care more before you go to bed. So you watch these people in hopes that like, oh, maybe I can implement it into my day.
Or it's aspiration.
Yeah, or like DIY content. People love watching them, but how many people actually go out of their way to do DIY stuff?
Or you kind of just watch it to relax. Not that you want to ever try their routine because it's like unattainable, but it is this kind of like motivational aspect to it. Yeah. So for this video, we really wanted to take like 3 of the things that you think or you see maybe like overplayed or overstated and break it down to what it means for our own routine. Yeah.
It's taking things that are tried and true or just completely oversaid and actually breaking it down into step-by-step habits or systems that you can implement into your daily nighttime routine so that you can just go to sleep happy, wake up happy, go to sleep not stressed, wake up not stressed.
Yeah, so if you enjoy videos like this, please subscribe, join us, and like the video so we know you enjoy it. Alrighty, let's go. Okay. Let's first start off with journaling. We've all probably heard of the benefits that surround journaling, especially in the realm of self-care and self-development. And the benefits range from helping to improve mental clarity, focus, keep track of our goals, and to just simply get all our thoughts and feelings onto the page in hopes to understand them more clearly. And it's said being able to label our emotions and acknowledge maybe traumatic events that may have happened can help us make sense of our feelings and moods or even ideas and insights, and therefore gain back the control of our emotions. Usually journaling's done anytime throughout the day where you set aside a portion of quiet time, undistracted, which is key, and allow yourself to sit down and think about life. Whatever comes to mind, write it down. And you might have seen there are different types of journaling methods, including maybe one of the most popular, bullet journaling for things like tasks, gratitude journaling, and even ones for food, travel, and more. What it really boils down to is organizing and tracking the details of our inner world. And through this, maybe we can start seeing behavioral or thought patterns where we wouldn't normally be able to. And like with most things, the best way to really dive into this is to be consistent with it every day. And at night, stressing and worrying at bedtime can stop our bodies from winding down, so positive journaling can redirect the mind to potentially help with longer and better sleep. Yeah, this isn't working. So, journaling. Okay, so let's talk about it, guys. Alright, so for me, journaling has always been something that I found really interesting to grasp because I do completely vibe with everything that it stands for and the benefits that it has for people. Like, there's absolutely nothing that could go wrong with trying journaling, like some things are good and bad. I just kind of see journaling as something that could be good. And also it's like helpful to see sometimes when you write things down that there are recurring themes only after you see it in front of your eyes. And I think through talking to some people and friends and stuff who have also tried it, like some people just struggle with trying to think of what to even write in the first place. But that's not something that I struggle with because if I really wanted to, I could probably write forever because there is just always something. Like within a day, so much happens, even if you're just like couch potatoing even if you're just like couch potatoing at home. So after trying multiple times over many years and over different stages of my life, I think I can finally and safely say that journaling just isn't for me. And I think it boils down to kind of 3 main points as I was thinking about why I don't think it really works for me. But after I kind of talk about those, I want to give you guys 2 other suggestions or like journaling alternatives for if you guys are kind of like me and it just doesn't really do much for you. So, all right, so the first theme, I guess, is how you frame your thoughts. So this kind of trickles down into 2 main things that I think explain why it might not be as helpful to me. And the first one is I have a lot of thoughts that go through my mind, but I actually really enjoy thinking. So whether that's, running through different situations, imagining new ideas, trying to understand different perspectives about something or other people, about something that's happened during the day, whatever it is, I actually really enjoy just kind of thinking through that. To me, I don't know, life is just kind of like this endless number of case studies that we can learn from, whether that's people or situations that happen. But instead of kind of approaching it from the perspective of like giving me anxiety and feeling like I need to have it figured out, which it can very easily lead into and start consuming your thoughts. And the one big thing about journaling is that it helps people kind of like brain dump, right? Whatever is filling their mind up, they're able to express it in words, get it on paper so it's out of their brain and out of brain, out of mind almost. Like maybe when I was younger, I might think, oh my God, it's my fault, blah, blah, blah. And then, want to dive into a hole and hide for a couple of days. But now I think like, as you know yourself more and you become more aware of your own capabilities, what you need to improve on and things like that, it all kind of goes on in my head kind of quite quickly, and then I'm able to just kind of be away with it. It's kind of like when I understand what I could have done better, then I can almost move on. So this ties into the other half of how we frame our thoughts. So in like Buddhist philosophy, you learn to look at problems or tribulations, if you want to call them, anything that happens that makes you a little bit moved or evokes some sort of negative emotion. You learn to kind of look at that in a third person almost. So you're almost looking at yourself and the feelings that you harbor around a certain person or a certain situation, or even about yourself with a sense of distance. So if this pretty little lip oil was me and all my problems, it would be like I'm looking at this and observing everything that's happening so that I can kind of rationalize and understand things in a way that's not so in the problem. So you're not looking at the issue within the issue, you're looking at it with a little distance. And that way, I think it's like it gives you mental clarity, it gives you more of a peaceful approach to something that could be really volatile. And it also helps you realize just how big or small a problem really is. Because I think it's much easier to blame than look at what we could improve on, Because we just don't want to admit that sometimes we could have done better. So to me, it's like if you're already doing that as it happens, it almost becomes redundant for me to then like go and write it down. Because by that point, sometimes I've already moved on, which I think is also really fine for people to write down their accomplishments and the moral of the story or, something that they want to improve on. I think all of that is valid. And then the last reason, kind of pivoting off that point, relates to deep connections and the outlets that we have with certain people in our lives. So I'm really thankful for the friends and family that I have, because I can say that if I really do have something that's on my mind and I just can't figure it out myself, no matter, how much I kind of think from other perspectives or think about what I could do better, I just still can't get to the core of why I'm still feeling annoyed. I do have people who also are very introspective and who also put a lot of focus on bettering themselves inside and outside, so that when I am struggling through something, or I tell them kind of what I'm struggling with, a lot of the times people have gone through very similar things. It's just in a different flavor. And being able to have a friendship or a family member or whoever it is to be able to just like understand you and offer advice that's not just kind of like, oh, you're right, he was so bad, like that kind of thing. To be able to tell you the hard truths coming from a really good place, and sometimes it might not be what you want to hear. I think I'm very fortunate to have those friends. And then, you know, your friends are there to sometimes like help vent and be that person, a sounding board, but they should also be the people to tell you things that you might not want to what you want to hear but are good for you. So those are kind of like, I think, the core reasons why I feel like I don't necessarily need journaling. So now I have some alternatives to journaling, and it's just two really. For me, I think a daily planner is actually really helpful. So it's not that I need to jot down my thoughts, because I feel like I have my thoughts kind of in control, but what I don't have in control is like schedules and things I need to remember that day, or to buy, or to prepare, and just to keep myself accountable. If you have like school and you're juggling a bunch of different things, everything can get so out of hand and out of whack in your head. And sometimes, even though like I store it in my head, I know I have to do this thing, like life will always throw you something, and then it will just make you forget, and it could snowball. So for me, a daily planner, or kind of like a catch-all notebook that you just have in your bag, even the notes thing on your phone, I find all of those super helpful. So recently I added an app to my phone. It's just a widget, and I can add in little notes, and it just comes up on my home screen, and then when I'm done with it, I just click the little box, bing. Oh, my fingers are not, blink, and then it kind of strikes it out, and then I'm done. So then I can see everything that I need to do that day. Yeah, so that actually works really well for me, and I desperately need it, because I feel like on days that I don't write down everything that I need to do, like the main tasks, I'll just be very kind of like procrastinating and just feel like, oh, it's not written down, so I don't really need to do it, that kind of thing. But you know, there's a real satisfaction in ticking things off and things like that. That's actually what helps empties my mind, so that I can like think clear about everything else. Now, the second and probably the most important thing, I think for me, which was game changer, is meditation. So for me, I do meditation for like 30 minutes or 1 hour at night before I go to bed, anytime between like my shower and before I sleep, because that is the time that I really take for myself to filter through certain thoughts that will come up just as I'm meditating. And then during that time, it's not about like being empty, but it's about realizing that you have or you feel certain things, and then deciding whether or not those things are rationally worth thinking about, or something that you can just kind of discard. I think what meditation teaches me is that you have all the power to control your thoughts, and it's not the thoughts that control you. And so when you kind of really understand that kind of dynamic, I think that's so powerful, and it's basically mental journaling. I don't know if that makes sense, and it takes a really long time. Like, I've been doing it for years now, and you know, it's also like journaling. You can go on and off, but it's only really effective when you do it consistently. And I think it's also really helpful to just take one of these tasks at a time, just so you know, and you can really get into it and decide whether it works for you or not. So don't try to take on too many of these self-care acts, you know, trying to wake up early, trying to do your journaling, trying to do meditation all at once. Like, it will drive you crazy. You'll be like, okay, self-care is a sham because it's causing me more stress. But actually, it's not. It's just how we approach it, much like our thoughts. So let me know if you also are on the same kind of wavelength as me where you tried it and it doesn't work. Yeah.
Quick question. Do you think, I know it's a cycle, right? It goes to night to day, day to night, but chicken or the egg? Is the nighttime routine setting up the day, or is the daytime setting
Up the night.
the night?
For sure, night to day.
Night to day.
Yeah, for me, night to day, for sure. If I go to sleep early enough, I can wake up happy and do all the things I want to do. If I wake up early, it doesn't really, I can have like a very great day and like stay up really late, and then I won't be able to wake up early again.
True. Yeah.
What about you?
Simple answer is same, but then my actual answer is like, I think at any point in the day or night, you can choose to reset.
Yeah.
So it's like at a certain point if you're feeling a funk, it's like, okay, I know I'm in a funk, let's reset. And that can be any time. So yeah, these are things you can probably practice at any time of the day.
Hello guys, Ro here. From all the b-roll of me journaling, you can probably tell how much of a fan I am, especially at night, but I mostly only journal consistently when my life is in shambles, so there's that. In any case, let's tackle another habit that seemingly anyone successful swears by, which is waking up early. From overall well-being to productivity, rising before the crack of dawn has many benefits I'm sure we're all relatively familiar with. Most notably, I believe it's the extra time you carve out of your day for yourself before the rest of the world wakes up, to spend that time doing whatever nourishes your soul before, of course, the craziness of the work or school day begins. Another benefit of waking up early I found is that if I'm up before 6 a.m., my body starts to really shut down much earlier than if I were to say wake up at 9 a.m., which means I'm incentivized to sleep earlier again so that I can be consistent with the cycle of waking and sleeping early. The older I get, the more I realize how precious and truly coveted this time to ourselves has become, whether it's spent mindfully meditating or writing morning pages, learning something new, reading, or working on that creative project or novel or side hustle. At the end of the day, magic happens when we proactively choose to show up for ourselves and make time for ourselves. And the best part of waking up early is just that, choosing yourself and choosing discipline. If we're being honest, I would say I spent at least 80 to 90% of my life snoozing or sleeping in. And if I want to trace back to two moments in my life, because I think of my life in seasons, not by age, there's one season in my life where I was living in Hong Kong, studying abroad. Every morning, the sun would shine through these giant windows in my dorm, and I would just wake up naturally. It's like my natural alarm. I actually think that's the best way to wake up, just naturally with the sun. And I would walk down my hallway with my glass, get some warm water, put in a lemon slice, and start my day that way. That's how I started my day every single morning for almost 4 or 5 months. And then, of course, I moved back home, and then the rest is history. When you go home, your routine's just kind of like... And the next moment in time that I think of was a few years ago when I was waking up at 4:30 every single morning for over 6 months. Now looking back, I'm actually very surprised that I was able to do for that long. But I think because I had such a solid routine, I'd wake up at 4:30, meditate for an hour, exercise Qigong for an hour, and read for an hour and a half before work started. It was so good. It was so good for me, and I think I knew it was good for me that my body just, like, I wanted to do it from the depths of my heart. The reason why I stopped doing it, there's an external reason and an internal reason. I think the external reason is my job switched. I was no longer going into the same office. I was going into a new office. There was a bit of a transition. So on the outside, it was like, yes, my environment shifted, but I think my internal, like my internal foundation, my internal environment also shifted. If I want to continue this routine badly enough, I know I could have. But I think a part of me just, it's not that I gave up, but I think I just started, sleeping later, watching more Korean dramas, and because I sleep later, you can't wake up as early. So it just, one day turned into a week, turned into a month, turned into years, and here we are. I think with all of these things, with your lifestyle, routines, everything, they can change and they will change as you grow and as you enter new seasons into your life. But I think, I know in the depths of my being that to be more consistent and to be more disciplined is actually, it's the better look. I think that's how you truly reap the benefits of a habit. That was just to say, life happens, it's okay, it's important. It's more important how we pick ourselves up when we do slip. So being grateful at our highs, being graceful at our lows, and that's really, I think, what helps keeps us grounded over, the course of our lives where things go up and down. But if we want to talk about how to wake up early, if I think back to when I was waking up early, even if it wasn't like deliberate at the time, looking back now, I feel like there's a few things that really stick out. I think the number one thing that's most important for waking up early is your nighttime routine. And I found what works best for me is having a 1 hour wind down routine, including 1 hour of no phone/screen time, because as you guys know, blue light can keep you up because it messes with your body's circadian rhythm, circadian clock. Or if I do use my phone, let's say if I'm calling my boyfriend to say goodnight or I'm calling my parents, I'll make sure that the night mode is on so that the screen is yellowed out. And then within that routine, what I found works for me the best is skincare, meditate, and then gratitudes. Just having these 3 things I found has helped me a lot. No matter what it is, having a keystone habit that can be the first trigger of, okay, I'm gonna make a warm drink, which means I'm about to sit down and read, which means I'm about to start shutting off my brain from work mode, whatever I was doing, thinking about earlier before, all of that's gonna start shutting down. I'm going to brush my teeth, I'm going to do my skincare, and I'm going to go to sleep. Another tip for the nighttime is to have everything prepared. Even better, have your outfit prepared. If you pick out everything the night before, all you have to do in the morning, you wake up, you do your morning routine, you move on with your day, and you can just head out, or you can just start your day without needing to stress or have you don't need to make hard decisions in the morning. For me, it's very hard picking out my outfit. It stresses me out, especially when I'm already running late, because I tend to wake up literally 5 minutes before I need to be somewhere. It's a very, very bad habit. So packing your bags the night before, picking out your clothes. And the last tip for nighttime is to try your best to go to sleep at a consistent time. This is what I struggle with most. Every single workday is really different. For example, today, right now, it is about 11 p.m. Make a wish. And yeah, there's just days where I stay up late editing. There's days where I can go to sleep a little earlier. And I just feel like it really messes with my clock, my inner body clock. It's just all over the place. So when I was waking up early, I would very consistently be in bed before at least 10 or 11 so that I can wake up earlier than I do now. So yeah, that's just something, food for thought, something to keep in mind. So now that you've nailed your nighttime routine, it's time for the morning wake up and routine. I feel like no matter how hard I try, no matter how far away I put my phone, no matter if I hide it in my closet or just put it somewhere that's so far away that I know I need to walk and wake up to get, I will pick it up and I'll go straight back to bed. That's just what I do. So I think all of these tips and tricks can work for some people, like get a sunset lamp, get a clocky, those clocks that roll off your nightstand and roll all over your room for you to have to pick up and get. You can also set your coffee machine to brew your coffee at a specific time every morning, so that scent will wake you up and the excitement of a nice freshly brewed coffee. But I've just found that over the years, all these things, I will eventually outsmart myself and just not care about it and stop waking up early. I found that I need a very, very, very solid and determined heart. It needs to be so resolute that I know I want to do this, I know this is good for me, and I'm going to do it, and then I will do it. Knowing why and knowing how much it'll help you and visualizing how good you'll feel doing it, I think can be really, really, really helpful. These days, I try to keep a mental note of things that, let's say when I'm meditating, whenever I get this feeling of, wow, this feels amazing, I try to take a mental note of this and just keep reminding myself of okay, The moment that you're like, oh, I don't know if I want to meditate tonight, it's like, okay, well, it'll make you feel really good as yesterday and the day before. So do you really want to skip today, or do you want to feel good and at peace and grounded? So if you want to take this a step further, I'd actually recommend writing down every little thing throughout your day. Whenever you try a new habit, whenever you're doing something, if it brings you that sense of peace and calm, write it down and look over that list every single day. Be like, okay, I did this on this day and it made me feel this way. Okay, maybe I should try doing more of that. And I think the more you remind yourself of how good something makes you feel, how at peace, how grounded something makes you feel, then the more positive reinforcement you give yourself, the more likely it is that you will really deepen that resolve in your core and carve that neural pathway in your brain to be like, this is the thing that I want to be doing, and this is the thing I'm going to do for myself. Just like how for Fel, she feels like journaling may not work for her, but she's able to find alternatives to still feed her soul and allow her to express her emotions in a different way. The same thing is with waking up early. I think it matters less what time you wake up. It matters more what your mornings look like. So if your mornings are super stressful, if you're just rushed all the time, and if you don't like living that way, then I think this is where waking up a bit earlier to give yourself that buffer, to give yourself that time and space to just be and do the things that you know will help you. Yeah, I think what matters more is what you do with that time. It doesn't really matter when you do it, so long as you make time for yourself. And with that, any concluding thoughts? Should Fel and I come together and do a little conclusion? I don't know. So that's it, Berber.
So guys, as you might be able to see, everyone is just going through their own journey, and it takes little steps along the way. And I'll leave you with a little quote from our gal, Oprah Winfrey. Breathe, let go, and remind yourself that this very moment is the only one you know you have for sure. And with that, we thank you so much for following our journeys and watching another episode, and we'll see you very soon. Bye! Subscribe, like, peace!